Let me speak openly from the heart. If my words don't resonate with you, that's perfectly okay. Everyone is entitled to their own feelings. But what unfolded that day on the clay courts of Madrid was one of those rare, spine-tingling moments in tennis that goes far beyond the scoreline. It was unexpected, beautiful, and deeply human. A young woman from the Philippines, Alexandra Eala, stepped onto the court in front of a packed stadium filled with 20,000 passionate Spanish fans. She calmly took the microphone, looked out at the sea of faces, and began to speak. In that instant, something magical happened. The entire arena seemed to forget for a moment that she was Spanish by birth. The crowd didn't just applaud, they erupted in a wave of pure, thunderous emotion that shook the stands. Even the legendary Boris Becker, known for his calm and experienced presence behind the microphone, was visibly caught off guard. For a few unforgettable seconds, he fell completely silent, as if the words had been taken right out of his mouth. It wasn't a stunning rally or a dramatic championship point that triggered this reaction. No, it was simply Alexandra Eala opening her mouth and speaking Spanish, rich, natural, fluent Spanish that carried the warmth, rhythm, and soul of someone who had truly lived the language for years. The kind of Spanish that made native speakers in the crowd pause, lean forward, and whisper to one another in disbelief. Wait a second, where is she actually from? Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be back here in Madrid and I can't wait to step out on the court again. I hope to see all of you out there supporting. The moment those words flowed out so effortlessly and sincerely, the stadium exploded with cheers louder than anything heard all afternoon. It was electric, it was emotional, it was real. Boris Becker has spent decades in the heart of professional tennis. He has witnessed Roger Federer redefine elegance and artistry on the court. He has watched Novak Djokovic push the boundaries of physical and mental greatness, breaking one historic record after another. Very few things in this sport still have the power to surprise a man with his level of experience. And yet, on that day, Becker was genuinely stunned into silence. That quiet, unscripted reaction from him said everything that needed to be said. It was the kind of silence that carries more weight than 1,000 words. Because this wasn't some carefully rehearsed, crowd-pleasing moment staged by tournament organizers. There was no phonetic card handed to her backstage, no media advisor whispering lines in her ear. Every syllable that came out of Eala's mouth had been earned through years of dedication, immersion, and quiet perseverance far away from the spotlight. Her journey had taken her to the Rafa Natal Academy in Manaker, a peaceful, unassuming town nestled in the eastern hills of Majorca. Unlike flashy training centers in big cities, Manaker is grounded in simplicity, red clay courts, rigorous discipline, and a philosophy that focuses on building strong, complete individuals rather than just producing technically gifted players. When a young Alexandra Eala first arrived there from the Philippines, she didn't step into an easy or comfortable environment. There was no protective English-speaking bubble waiting for her. There was no nearby Filipino community she could turn to for emotional support after particularly tough days. It was just her, the demanding clay courts, strict coaches, and a completely new language she had to learn quickly if she wanted to survive and thrive. While many young international players who train in Spain manage to pick up basic survival Spanish enough to communicate simple needs, thank the staff, or handle short interviews, Eala never allowed herself to settle for the bare minimum. She went much deeper. She competed regularly in junior tournaments throughout Spain and across Europe, places where Spanish wasn't just occasionally heard, it dominated every aspect of daily life. In the locker rooms, during tactical briefings, in conversations with other players, and even in casual moments between training sessions. Over time, something profound happened. Spanish stopped feeling like a foreign language she had to consciously translate in her mind. It gradually became the language she naturally thought in, processed her emotions in, and expressed herself with complete ease. She had crossed that invisible but powerful threshold where a second language becomes almost as instinctive as your mother tongue. That hard-earned fluency is exactly why her words in Madrid hit so differently. There was no hesitation, no searching for the right phrase, no awkward pauses while her brain tried to catch up. What the Spanish crowd heard wasn't a performance or an attempt, it was a young woman speaking from an authentic place as if she belonged there. Spanish audiences are perceptive and have seen it all before. They've listened to countless international players deliver polite, rehearsed sentences in their language, complete with careful pronunciation and nervous smiles. They can usually tell within the first few words whether the effort is genuine or superficial. With Eala, they knew instantly. Her tone, her rhythm, her natural warmth, it all gave her away in the best possible way. The roar that followed wasn't the gentle, encouraging applause given to someone who is trying their best. It was loud, spontaneous, and full of genuine recognition. In that moment, thousands of people simultaneously realized that this Filipino talent hadn't simply visited their tennis world for a tournament. She had lived inside it. She had grown up inside it. Becker's stunned silence carried extra layers of meaning, because he, more than most commentators, could truly appreciate what he was witnessing. As a German player who rose to global stardom in a sport and media landscape dominated by English, he knows firsthand the challenges of operating at the highest level in a language that is not your own. He understands the difference between merely performing fluency and actually possessing it deep in your bones. So when he went quiet watching Eala speak so naturally on that Madrid court, it wasn't simple surprise. It was a moment of profound respect from someone who recognized just how rare and difficult that level of cultural and linguistic integration truly is. Modern tennis coverage tends to focus heavily on measurable metrics: ranking positions, serve speeds, forehand consistency, breakpoint conversion rates, and physical statistics. What often gets overlooked is the invisible, deeply personal side of a player's development: the years of emotional adaptation, the cultural sacrifices, the mental resilience required to leave your home country as a teenager and fully rebuild your identity in a foreign environment while simultaneously chasing elite-level success. The Rafa Nadal Academy has always stood for something greater than technical tennis training alone. Rafael Nadal himself has often spoken about the importance of developing character, discipline, respect, and cultural awareness alongside sporting skill. Players don't just train there, they live there, study there, mature there, and grow as human beings. For Alexandra Eala, who arrived at a formative age, Manaker became the central world of her adolescence. Her remarkable Spanish fluency is not some charming side note or marketing gimmick. It is the direct, living result of fully embracing that holistic philosophy over many years. When the Madrid crowd rose to their feet and cheered with such passion, they were celebrating more than just a talented young player. They were witnessing the public flowering of everything the Nadal Academy represents. Eala herself was the living proof of what happens when a young athlete commits completely, not only to her sport but to a new culture, a new language, and a new way of seeing the world. And let's not forget how unique this story really is. The WTA Tour has seen players capture the hearts of specific nations before: Lina inspiring millions in China, Garbani Muguruza carrying the pride of Spain and Venezuela, or Sloane Stephens building a loyal following through her personality. But Eala represents something entirely new: a Filipino talent with deep, authentic lived experience in Spanish tennis culture and genuine linguistic fluency that feels completely natural. There is no previous blueprint for this particular intersection of identities. That freshness, that originality, is part of what made the Madrid moment feel so incredibly powerful and unrepeatable. For the Spanish fans filling the stadium, the cheers came from a place of pride and appreciation, seeing their language, their clay court traditions, and their tennis values embraced so sincerely by an outsider. For the Filipino fans watching from halfway across the globe, the moment carried an even deeper emotional weight. It was the pride of seeing one of their own leave home at a young age, endure loneliness and hardship, and then stand tall on a major international stage with confidence and grace, expressing herself fluently in a language far removed from her roots. What made the entire scene so special was its complete spontaneity. This wasn't a planned, scripted multilingual segment designed to please the local crowd. There was no media handler preparing her lines. No one prompted her. She simply spoke from the heart in the language she had lived and breathed every single day during her most important developmental years. That unforgettable afternoon in Madrid gave Alexandra Eala something that no ranking points or tournament titles can ever provide: a powerful, authentic, and emotionally rich personal story. A story that now deeply connects her to one of the most passionate and loyal fanbases in European tennis, especially whenever she returns to the clay courts she knows so well. Because while television cameras love to zoom in on dramatic winners, highlight reel shots, and updated ranking lists, they rarely capture the quieter, more meaningful parts of the journey. The early morning practice sessions when no one is watching, the casual conversations in Spanish over meals at the academy, the gradual and often difficult process of not just learning a language, but truly becoming part of a new culture. Madrid was the moment when the cameras finally caught up to a transformation that had been quietly unfolding for years in the peaceful courts of Manaker. At its core, professional tennis has never been solely about cold numbers and statistics. It has always been about the human being behind the racket, the dreams they chase, the sacrifices they make, the discomfort they willingly step into when staying in their comfort zone would have been far easier. Alexandra Eala chose the more difficult path. She chose to go deep, deep into her craft, deep into a foreign culture, and deep into her own personal growth. And on that sunny day in Madrid, with the crowd roaring wildly and even Boris Becker left momentarily speechless, the tennis world caught a beautiful glimpse of what going deep truly looks like when it finally rises to the surface for everyone to see. This is precisely why spaces dedicated to thoughtful tennis storytelling exist. Moments like Eala's deserve far more than a quick 30-second highlight clip and a generic social media caption. They deserve context. They deserve to be explored fully. They deserve someone willing to ask the deeper questions. Why did the crowd react so strongly? Why did a Filipino player speaking Spanish create such an emotional wave? And why did Boris Becker, of all people, go quiet? If this kind of passionate, detailed, and heartfelt storytelling about the human side of tennis is what you enjoy, then I invite you to subscribe right now and turn on notifications. Because Alexandra Eala's journey is still unfolding, and there are many more inspiring and powerful stories waiting just around the corner.